I'm gonna start the recording and we'll just go.
Oh
All right.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
don't forget that.
Yeah, I will share. Okay. So basically, the idea behind behind this project was I was gonna take an old Nerf gun that I had bought.
Wait,
Um,
did you start the recording then?
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, I'm recording
Okay.
on OBS. I'm not recording on Zoom.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Um, so my girlfriend and I bought these at the beginning of quarantine just to like curb our boredom. Basically, the idea with it was I wanted to improve it, and I was going to do that um, by putting a new spring in there. Because if you know how a Nerf gun works, you pull down like a plunger, and that holds a bunch of energy in the spring, and then you pull the trigger, and that releases the spring, and it shoots a plunger up. So I was going to change out the spring. I don't have you can't really see, but in this photo, there's a plunger on the top. I was gonna put some plumber's tape on there to make it like a tighter seal, and then I was also just gonna add some WD-40 to make it a little smoother of a process. And the aesthetic I was going for, oh, oh god, get out of the way. Okay, so the aesthetic I was going for was something that's called like Outrun. I call it Miami Vice, but it's this like super neon pink blue very nostalgic thing, and it came from like if you know like 80s, like the aesthetic of the 80s. It was basically a group of like artists who really didn't like um, kind of like the capitalist conformatory style of art, so they started find they kind of just did whatever they wanted with very like base colors, and it was kind of like an alternate, like against it was a lot of this. So like when you think of the 80s, you think of weird aesthetic. Um, but it's been updated into something called Outrun, which is like wave music and basically just like an extreme version of that. So I wanted to, and one of the cool things about like Outrun is that it has like a nostalgic feel to it for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I grew up at the tail end of the 90s, so I got like a lot of the weird like primary colors and like neon things, and like it reminds me of Blockbuster for some reason. So I wanted to combine like a Nerf gun, which is something that I have a lot of nostalgia with from my childhood, on top of uh, that aesthetic. So what as I said, I was going to do, I was going to add a spring to the. So this is the original spring. I don't know how well you can see that. This I had a bunch of springs laying around. This is what I was trying to put in there. Um, it's significantly stronger and larger. So in my mind, I figure, oh, I'll just throw this in there, pull the plunger back, and it'll shoot it way, way harder. The only problem with that is this thing is made out of plastic, and when you put this much larger spring in there, it's compressed quite a bit, and all that's really holding it in there is some really tiny screws that are tapped into plastic. So I kind of had to make a last minute decision because I stripped the screws and absolutely like broke the whole plunger system. So that kind of threw everything out the window for making it stronger, which was a bummer because that's what I was looking forward to. I took the plunger and I like put some plumber's tape around it. Um, so this is what I get for waiting to do it till last minute. But basically, I just went full bore into the like Outrun aesthetic. I put a can on it just to make it look a little more interesting because we're, you know, reusing stuff. I took the plunger and put it on top. This was supposed to go down here. See, there's a hole. That's where the spring was supposed to go and like pull it down. But yeah, basically, I just fully committed to this like pink and neon color scheme. Two things I tried to do with it is like if you look on here, this is a lot more like roughly painted. Um, because that's another thing with Outrun is it's sometimes like a lot of gradients and like flowing into each other colors, but I also wanted to to do a lot of the like they do a lot of like straight lines and just very like sharp like colors. So I kind of tried to do both of those. Um, but yeah, basically at the end of the day, super underwhelming project. It's just a Nerf gun with a can. Uh, uh, just super glued to the end. But I thought it's kind of a funny little cool memento that I think captures that 80s aesthetic. I mean, I think some things I could have done is there's a lot of like imprints and uh, like extra plastic on here that I maybe could have painted. Um, and I guess I still have time to do that. But this is basically just the product of me having to last minute audible something that completely did not work how I intended. So that's really all I got. So I guess I can turn it over to you guys now.
All right. Thank you, Ben.